Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. This will be the very first time that I have done a solo moon report, and I'm really excited to be here for this very special new moon in Aquarius. So I won't waste any time, and I'm going to get right into the chart. Let me pull it up. All right, so this moon is happening on the 29th, Wednesday morning at 7:26 a.m. On the East Coast of the United States, and it should be adjusted for the times for wherever you are in the world. It's an interesting chart. For me, for those of you that know, I write a moon report and have been doing so for a couple of years. And I also discuss the moon live with my friend Mila, who is also an evolutionary astrologer. But today I'm going to be discussing the chart solo. So, without further ado, here's what I'm seeing in the chart. First of all, there are two pretty large stelliums happening. The first one, which I'm going to draw attention to, is happening in the sign of Aquarius. And Pluto has been in Aquarius for a little while. It moves very, very slowly, but it is just before the second degree. It is conjunct very close with Mercury right now. Mercury, as of the time of my recording, has not quite made it into Aquarius, but will very shortly. Mercury in Aquarius. What are we talking about here? Well, let's talk about Pluto first. Pluto in Aquarius is about Pluto, the planet of transmutation, of extreme change from one form to another, like metamorphosis. Is everything that it touches, it essentially changes drastically. And so in the sign of Aquarius, we're talking about individuation, about our individual selves that we were born to be. And we're meeting up with that being. We're having to merge with our individuality. The universe is sort of forcing us to be ourselves, essentially. Now, with evolutionary astrology, we talk about Pluto being the soul, the reason that we incarnate, but it's also the collective soul. So Pluto, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was in the 1700s, 1777, I believe. This is when the United States was born. So it's the sign of revolution. It's the sign of extreme change. And this country was born in through that energy. So also with evolutionary astrology, we talk about the opposition point being the direction that Pluto is intending to do. And the opposition point here is Leo. So what does this mean? Leo is our authentic selves, being absolutely authentic, like being without any kind of conditioning or adjustment. It's standing up, it's doing what it is that comes out of your heart. And that's the direction. So for the next 20 years, Pluto will be in Aquarius. And during that 20-year period, we're all going to be learning to coming from the heart, from being very authentic human beings. Mercury is the sign of the mind and of communication. The thing about Mercury is it's our perspective. It's related to what we see every day and the area that we live in, the people that we're around, the influences that we have. And it is really very different from everybody. And nobody has exactly the same perspective. It's like I sit in this place right here. Nobody can sit in the place that I'm sitting unless they're sitting on top of me. And so the perspective that I have of the world is very different from the perspective that somebody in, say, China would have, or somebody, even down the road from where I live. Mercury in Aquarius is about breaking free from exterior perspectives. It's about coming into our own, very much like Pluto. And so what I say about the two of these planets together is that it is a shift, a change in consciousness that's happening, that is beginning. And Mercury rules Gemini. And so Gemini is like everybody's perspective altogether. What I see here is we're looking at our own individual perspective. And where we have in the past been linked to other people's perspectives, we have media, we have social media, we have all of these different places where we may get our perspectives from. We may agree with them, we may not agree with them, but somehow we gain our perspective from the influence of others. And this is a period of time where we're going to be experiencing a breaking free from that, where we're really coming into our own thoughts and our own minds. What I find really interesting is that this new moon is also in Aquarius, not too far away from the Pluto and the Mercury. And so all of these planets, because they're so close together, kind of are doing their part at the same time. And it's very difficult to separate the energy, but the energy is the totality of this energy is one of being unique. It's rebellious. It's innovative. It can be shocking. Something shocking could happen that really shifts the consciousness of every individual and would fracture it in a very different way for each individual. Let's talk about the next huge stellium that I see here. This is the stellium that's in Pisces. Now, Neptune has been in Pisces for quite a while. It was retrograde for some time. Now it's going direct. It won't be long that Neptune will move into Aries, where it'll be a new beginning. And so Neptune is linked to Pisces. Pisces is like the energy source. It's all the totality of all things. We've heard the saying scientifically, energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. Well, this energy is Neptune, the Pisces archetype. And everything that comes into existence through this Pisces Neptune energy field lives for a period of time, exists for a period of time, and then when its time is over, it dissolves and goes back into the storehouse of energy that is. From there, it is reborn into Aries, a very new cycle, a new beginning. And so Saturn, which is also in Pisces, and it's been in Pisces for quite a while, is the planet of structure. It is the structure, it is the crystallization of this energy into a reality that we can hold and that we can look at and we can experience. When Saturn is in Pisces, it's kind of like two opposite energies. They are, one is crystallizing and one is dissolving. And so what's happening is that the reality that has been created and that we have lived for perhaps thousands of years is dissolving. You've heard about this, I'm sure. Social media is all talking about it. A lot of astrologers are talking about it. We're experiencing a shift. What has been is dissolving. This would be noted with the planets Saturn and Neptune. They've been in there the longest. Neptune, of course, the longest, and is on its way out. This is the dissolving of our reality. And, it's experienced in all kinds of different ways. We can see that roles have been breaking apart and just things that are so unusual and yeah, our reality is shifting and changing and dissolving. Now, what's nice about that is that something new will be reborn from the dissolved energy. And we each have the opportunity to change and to create the reality that we want to see in the world. Okay, let's go to Venus. Venus is sitting in between these two planets. Venus is an inner planet. This is how we relate to ourselves. Venus rules Taurus. Interestingly enough, Uranus is in Taurus, so these two planets are quite related. They're actually sextile to each other. They're helping each other out at this time. Venus is how we survive in the world. It's how we love. It's how we value things. It's how some people will link it to money. Personally, I'm a more spiritual focused person, and I link it to how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to other people. It is the planet of relationships, the planet of love. A very feminine archetype. She's a yin, draws energy inward. And in the sign of Pisces, it's a dissolving. It's a dissolving of the way we've related to ourselves, and it's a dissolving of the way that we relate to other people. Relationships are changing. And so as Venus moves closer to Pisces, to Neptune, which is going to happen, Venus is very fast moving, so it will cross Neptune in a day or two, and it will begin a new cycle on the other side. A very new spiritual relationship is how I like to say it. I say when Neptune and Venus come together, we let go of this earthly love, the way we describe love in the earthly realm, and we align it with a more spiritual love, a universal love. Which, in my opinion, the world needs a lot of at this time. The next planet in this stellium is the North Node, and the nodes move backwards. So the nodes, the North Node is moving toward Neptune, and Venus is moving toward Neptune. So I'm going to stop for a second. I want to talk about the nodes because we've recently experienced a nodal shift. It happened earlier in January. The nodes move backward. The nodes are how we identify ourselves. This south node being the past way we identify ourselves, the north node being how we are going to evolve into identifying ourselves. So this north node moving into Pisces tells me that we will identify ourselves in a more spiritual light, particularly as these two planets cross. So we have these two stelliums. One is breaking us free from thought patterns, from a way of being. And really, the sun and the moon are how we express our authenticity and how we self-actualize our truth every day on a daily basis. And this is shifting, where we have all been very tuned into the outer world. We are breaking free from that, and we're beginning to come into our own inner sense of self. This has been going on for a while. We've been working through it through all of the alignments. You can go back and look at my moon reports, and it will describe these things to you. Um, so let's jump over to Mars. Mars has been retrograde in the sign of Cancer. This is this inward, Mars is an outward acting planet. It's how Pluto actions its desires. And Cancer is how we feel. It's our inner sense of nurture, how we feel safe. It is our emotional realm. And what Mars retrograde is doing is giving us an opportunity to look back at how we action ourselves and to really like um perhaps change our actions, but definitely to look back and see, are we acting from a place of the emotional realm? Are we acting from a place where we feel safe? Um, or have we been acting, for example, because um, the external world is telling us to do something, or the external world is saying that the reality is in a particular way and we react in that way. And so Mars is giving us the chance to kind of look back at our actions and see if they align with what feels on the inside, which is a really important thing. All the planets have been through Cancer this year. We've really been looking at what these bodies and these vessels have been. They're an instrument, a tool that we can really feel what's happening inside and react from this inner world. We've been taught to work from an outer world. We have news, we have people telling us what's going on in the world, and this can be misleading. And so paying attention to the sensations that we're feeling in our body is a very important tool for us to be able to guide what's really happening. So Mars is helping us to do that. Let's skip over to Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of beliefs, what we believe to be true. It's the cosmology, what we understand. It's our worldview, what we see, what's happening in the world. What do we believe? When it's retrograde, we have a very difficult time believing what other people believe. The energy is to help us develop what our own truth is, what our own belief structure. In the sign of Gemini, there are so many different perspectives out there. This is like the ability to take in what it is that you believe to be true. And you can take in other people's perspective, but you will hold your own truth. And it's a matter of learning to do that. It's not being combative. You know, in this world, we tend to um, be combative when people have different belief structures. And then that breaks out in war and all kinds of different manifestations that are harmful to humanity. And so this is a period of time where we're really looking at the very different perspectives. If we can understand that the perspectives are related to the environment that we live in, literally what we've been told, people are being told different things, that the only way to really get a very accurate view for yourself is to turn inward and listen to the inner instrument. And I think that's what this new moon report is, this new moon is describing for us. I'd like to talk about the South Node. So the South Node in Virgo is about our past identity. So the way that I have described it, Virgo is like the pieces and the parts, the details of our world, while Pisces is the totality. And what's been happening is that we've been focused on the details for really quite some time. And as time goes on, we start to look at these details as the reality. When you separate out the whole, and look at the particular details, what can happen on an emotional level is that you start to sort, like you discern between the different parts. Oh, this one is better than this one. It's like in our in the world of medicine, for example, our medicines, they've decided that particular plant extractions, they extract a very particular part of the plant and make it very strong, and this is how the medicine works. However, if you use the plant, it's a whole and not as dangerous perhaps or as strong, so you might have to take it longer, or but it is effective because it's the whole plant. When you start separating things out to look at the details, you're kind of changing the reality a little bit, because everything really works as a whole. What happens is when we look at the details, we start to separate and say, oh, this is better than this, and this is better than that, and we should be doing this. And this is the way that our world has been working for some time. So now we have these people are better than these people. As you can see, this causes, friction and conflict, which later leads to war and destruction. So on an emotional level, we either fall into the category of not feeling good enough, not measuring up, or we get a little bit full of ourselves and think that people are lesser than we are. And one thing that I've come to realize is that each of us has a very particular purpose. And because we have been put into this realm where they decide, our culture decides what the jobs are and how much money we're getting for these jobs, and what is the best way for us to live. We literally, most of us don't get, or at least in the past haven't gotten a chance to live to our full potential. So what I believe that this chart is saying is essentially that we are leaving that Virgo world behind, and we're moving toward the North Node in Pisces, where we are accepting, being more accepting, having compassion, one for ourselves. We, don't feel bad because you lived in a particular way. We have the opportunity to shift and change. This is what this whole energy is about. Don't feel bad and look, you may have said some things to people that you want to take back. Don't feel bad about things that you've done in the past. Forgive yourself, in other words. Forgiveness, compassion, acceptance. These are the energies of Pisces. This is the energy of the universal love. And this is what's coming online. So I think finally what I want to talk about here is this kite that I see. And I'm going to kind of draw it out for us so that we can see it. So the bottom of the kite is here. Here, this is the kite. It is in, oop, my drawing is not great. I apologize. Here's the kite. And essentially, if I were to click on to both Neptune and Venus, whoops, nope, Neptune. Neptune is the apex of the kite here. A kite is essentially two sextiles attached to a point and two trines attached to the other end of the point. This is an energy that is very auspicious. This is good energy. It helps us to really focus on that top point. This is where we are lifted up to. So Neptune in Pisces is the direction that we're headed. And we all have a choice. We make the choices here. We can live in the world of separating things off, and we've been separated ad nauseum for some time now. And the time of separation can come to an end, but we have to choose it. That is the wonderful thing. It's all about choices here in this realm. And so the planets are lining up for each of us to be able to find our individual selves, for each of us to have compassion for what's gone on before, and to have compassion for ourselves, to experience this universal love, and to really choose what timeline, Mercury, you want to live on. I just want to bring, before I end, the other part of this sextile is linked to Uranus. Uranus rules the stellium that's in Aquarius. Uranus rules Aquarius. And so this is about breaking apart old values, the old value structure, the way we have survived in the past. We have the opportunity to break this apart and free ourselves, to leave back the separateness that has been created through the South Node in Pisces, and to really start to bring together and live in a point of oneness. So that's what I see happening in this this chart here. And yeah, I wanted to come on and really begin to talk about my point of view, which is different, similar maybe to other astrologers, but definitely unique to myself. And given the way this chart looks, with the individuation, I am stepping into that role. So I want to thank you all for listening to me. You can reach out to me. JaskKarenAstrology.com is my website. I have various readings that you could choose. Also, I have a Substack account, like I was saying earlier, and you can check out my Substack reports, my moon reports. I produce them every new and full moon. And starting today, I'm going to be producing at least some part of a moon report, if not one in, because they can be long and involved. So if you want to get more detail, please look at my Substack, Jask Karen Astrology, and I look forward to coming on here and doing it again. Thanks for listening.